the state witness in the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial, Zandile Khumalo, is continuing with her testimony following yesterday's adjournment. Let's now take you live to those proceedings.
Or what the color was.
Now, just to make sure that I understand where you were seated relative to where the person pointing the firearm was, so that perhaps we can clear this up once and for all. I'll ask that Exhibit D, photos 57 thereof, be shown to you, please.
It's photo number?
It's 57, my lord.
57.
Of
Okay.
Exhibit D, 57, my lord.
All right.
Now, in terms of the picture, if my recollection serves me well, you and your mother, before the arrival of Longetwala, you were seated on the sofa on the left, correct?
Mangikhumbula kahle lesisithombe wena noma ke ngaphambili kokuthi uLongo afike nanihlezi kule sofa ose left.
Cha kulona iqiniso lelo.
No, that's not true.
Okay, that's why I said if my memory serves me well, can you jog my memory, please?
Ngawashila ko mangikhumbula kahle ungangikhumbuza ke.
Ngangihleli kulo sofa kwa right.
I was seated on the sofa on the right.
Thanks for that. Now, when the first suspect enters, I know that there's the beginning of the arc here. Relative to that, where was the first suspect at when you saw him pointing the firearm at the people in the house?
Ngiyazi ukuthi lana ke kulaqala khona ke iarc noma la vuleke khona ke kodwa ke mayela nje nalapha yana ke lona owoqala wayemi kuphi ke nendawo yena uma ingena endlini.
Njengoba ukhaphethe uphelela la uphelela khona yena wayeme phezulu kwama-tiles.
Just where the carpet ends, he was standing on the tiles.
Now let's put an estimation of a distance between where you were seated and where he was. Just give me your educated guess in terms of distance.
Uma singaqagela nje ibanga ke la ayemi khona yena nala wena owawuhlezi khona.
Okokuqala imaths ngangiyizonda esikoleni. So indaba yama measurements nama estimation into engakwazi ukuyenza leyo.
Firstly, I hated maths at school. So when it comes to distances and measurements, that's something I'm unable to do.
Okay. Let's take a simple guesstimate from where Mr. Jonas is, Mr. Interpreter, to the end of the big screen or somewhere relative. Can you estimate the distance from where Mr. Jonas is towards the end of the screen, or is it further than that?
Uthi uma la ngikhona mina ke uye la isiqinisela khona noma uyendlula.
Hayi nalokho kunzima nje ngoba akuyona indlu yasekhaya le.
Even that is difficult because that's not our home.
Okay,
My
just let me not belabor this point. Your view of the firearm as it's pointed to you, is it from the side? Do you see it from this side or from the front by the barrel?
La wawuhlezi khona isibhamu usibona eceleni noma usibona la ngaphambili.
Ngangisibona from eceleni.
From the side.
And from that vantage point, you couldn't tell the color of the firearm.
Njengoba ngisho nje ukuthi sasidarkish.
As I'm saying that it was darkish.
Let me track back to a question I asked you, and in response thereto, I asked you, when the firearm was pointed at the people in the house, what was the reaction? You stated that you froze. You remember that?
Ushilo ke wathi nje wena wafreeza ke uma nikhonjwe ngesibhamu yakhumbula lokho.
Ngiyakhumbula lokho.
Yes, I remember that.
But in your testimony yesterday, you said when this thing was happening, you immediately took your phone and hid it under a cushion. Do you remember that?
Kodwa ke izolo uthe umufakaza ke ukuthi kwathi uma kwenzeka lokho wase ngaleso sikhathi ke wathatha ifoni yakho wayifihla ke emuva kwecushion.
Yebo ngisho njalo kodwa ngakwenza lokho emva kokuthi uLongwe amphushe.
Yes, I said so, but I did that after Longwe had pushed him.
Now, going forward, your story is that the second suspect then, in fact, let me put it this way so that we don't confuse each other. When the two suspects entered and the first one produces a firearm, Zandile Khumalo then runs to a bedroom that is opposite the kitchen, that's facing the kitchen like this, correct?
Bangenileke labo babili ke lona oqala ke esekhiphe isibhamu noma ephethe ke isibhamu wasebaleka ke uKelly engena ke kwicamera eli qondene nekhishi.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And your story is?
Why do you say story? Please, just say evidence. Please, we are lawyers.
Okay, all right. Your testimony or evidence is that the second suspect then follows or chases after Kelly to that bedroom, correct?
Uthike noma ufakazi bakho buthike lo wesibili ke wase elandela ke uKelly ukuya kulelo camera.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And in that process, Kelly gets into the room and closes the door, and the second suspect tries to push the door from the outside, correct?
Ubona ke lokho uKelly usongiyangena ke kamereni uyavala ke umnyango nomstapa ke lona yena ke uyazama ke ukuthi asivule asipush.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, where were you when you observed that interaction between Kelly and the second suspect?
Wawukuphi nendawo wena ke uma ubona lokho kwenzeka phakathi kwalo msolo wakhe kanye naye uKelly?
Ngangisahleli phansi la bengibonise khona ukuthi bengihleli khona.
I was still seated at the same position that I had pointed.
By the way, when did this second suspect enter the house?
Yena ke lo wesibili umsolo wangena nini noma ngasiphi isikhathi endlini?
Njengoba bese ngishilo ukuthi bangene belandelana. Wathi omunye mayima phambili, omunye wama ngasekishini.
As I've already said that as they came in, they were following each other. So as the one just stood there, and then the other one stood in the kitchen.
Was the second suspect also armed with a weapon of some sort.
Ingaba nalona owesibili ke naye sikhona isikhali awayesiphethe.
Angikubonanga lokho.
I didn't see that.
Now, clarify for me this. In your evidence, you say the second suspect stood next to the stove. Do you recall saying that yesterday?
Uyakhumbula yini noma asiqale lana ke ngicela ungichazele lokho. Uthe kufakazi bakho lo wesibili ke wema ke eceleni kwestove. Uyayikhumbula usho lokho?
Ngiyakhumbula ngisho lokho kodwa ngithe phakathi naphakathi emnyango lo ongenisela epassage.
Yes,
ukuthi kunestofu futhi khona la eceleni kwakhona.
I remember saying that, but I said it was in the middle between the door that now leads to the passage. There is a stove right there or next to it.
Now, the second suspect does not manage to open the door where Kelly has, the bedroom door where Kelly has run to. What then happens to this second suspect if you observe that?
Manje ke lona owesibili ke examine kwakhe ke ukuthi avuleke umnyango lowo ke walelo kamera uKelly angene kulona ke akaphumelelanga kulokho. Kwase kwenzekani ke ngayi lona owesibili?
Njengoba bese ngichazile ukuthi akuzange ukuthi aphushe kanye noma kabili bese yayeka. Kwakuyi push and pull khona lapha emnyango.
As I've already said that it was not a matter of him only pushing once or twice and then he stopped. It was a pushing and pulling right there at the door.
Yes, I understand that, but what I'm asking is this. Once he did not succeed, after that pushing and pulling, once he didn't succeed, Kelly's still in the bedroom, right?
Kuko ngiyakuzwa ke uma usho lokho kodwa ke ngikubuza ukuthi angithi ukuzamile ke lokho futhi ke akaphumelelanga kodwa ke kona lokho uKelly wayesengaphakathi ekamereni.
Mawuthi akaphumelelanga ngicela ucacisela.
If you say that he didn't succeed, if you
Ngoba
just
mina ngibonanga mayithi akaphumelelanga or usebonise ngathi akaphumelelanga.
because I didn't see that he didn't succeed or that there were signs that he didn't succeed. If you can just explain that to me when you say he didn't succeed.
Did he manage to enter that room where Kelly Khumalo was?
Wakwazi ukuthi angene kulelo kamera uKelly awayekulona?
Cha.
No.
Then my question is that after that, when he couldn't enter that room, what happened to him? Where did he go?
Engikubuzayo ke ukuthi emuva kwalokho ke esengakwazanga ukuthi angene kulelo kamera wayapi.
Lalela njengoba bese ngichazile ukuthi kwakuyi action eyayenzeka laphana. So eya elandela uKelly ekamereni and then uLongwe waphusha lo wamadrets wamusala emuva sasukuma sonke samba dudula saya na kitchen.
Listen here, what then happens, all of that was like in an action. So when he did that, that's when Longwe stood up and then pushed this one. And we all then stood up and pushed them, went with them towards to the kitchen.
Now, just to track back a bit, when this second suspect entered the house, the first suspect says, money and cell phones, we want money and cell phones, to that effect. What did this second suspect say, if anything at all?
Nanjengoba lo wokuqala uma engena wathi ke khiphani imali nama cellphone. Uma kuukuthi ke lo wesibili kukhona wakusho yini awayisho yena lo wesibili?
Cha akashongo lutho.
No, he didn't say anything.
And at the time of this incident, where are the children, Kelly Khumalo's children?
Ngesikhathi ke salesi sigameko ke babe kuphi ke abantwana bakaKelly?
Mangikhumbula kahle uChristian wayelokhe yaphansi phezulu kodwa uthingo ngase ngimthathile ngawumlalisa ekamereni.
If I remember well, Christian was moving up and down, but I had already taken Tingo to the bedroom to sleep.
Now, let's come to this aspect of Longwe pushing the first suspect out or away, and then him leaving the house via the kitchen door.
Ake sizeke kulodaba lwakhe uLongwe Thwala ke esesukuma ke esephusha lona ke owoqala wase eyaphuma yena.
Now, the person that you say Longwe Thwala pushed is the first suspect, the one with dreadlocks and the one in possession of a firearm, correct?
Lona othi waphushwa uLongwe ilo owoqala owayinama dreadlocks futhi ephethe spam angithi.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, when you say Longwe stands up, approaches this first suspect and pushes him, the person with the firearm at the time, is the firearm still pointed at the people in the house?
Uma uthi ke uLongwe wasukuma waya waqonda kuyena wase emphusha, ingabe ngaleso sikhathi ke lo owoqala isibhamu wayesasikhombile ekhombe abantu noma esanikhombile ngaso ngaleso sikhathi uLongwe akwenza lokho?
Wasikhomba kodwa uLongwe mayemphushela le kusho ukuthi kwa sasuka kuthina ngoba wayesehlehle.
Yes, he pointed the firearm at us, but then when Longwe pushed him aside, then it means that it was now not pointing at us anymore because he moved.
Let's perhaps stick with this photo 57. The first aspect, according to your testimony, is pushed by Longwe Thwala. Remind me again where Longwe Thwala was seated.
Ngicela futhi ukuthi uLongwe wayehlezi kuphi nendawo?
uLongwe wayehlezi la eqaleni esofeni.
Longwe was seated where the witness is pointing, right at the beginning of the couch.
And when he pushes the first suspect, where does he push him to? Or against what? Relative to that picture?
Uma empusha umphushela kuphi? Uma usebenzisa isithombe lesiyana.
Kulesi sithombe akubonakali kodwa wampushela ephasejini.
It's not visible on this photo, but he pushed him towards the passage.
If I may request that perhaps photo 58 be shown. No, that's not. Let's check 59. I'll come to that. There's a photo that I made. I'll come back to that. And now, when Longwe pushes this first suspect away, what does the first suspect do?
Uma uLongwe semphusha ke wenzani ke yena lo ophushwayo ophushwa uLongwe?
Wahlehla wayemove.
You moved backwards.
And the second suspect, what does it do as Longwe pushes the first suspect?
Manje ke wenzani lo wesibili uma uLongwe ephusha lo wokuqala?
Ngokukhumbula kwami wayeseselapha eminyango.
As far as I can recall, he was still there at the door.
But what I'm asking is, did he take any action or he didn't?
Engikubuza ukuthi ngabe khona yini awakwenza noma cha?
Angisakhumbuli.
I can't recall that well.
Beg your indulgence, my lord. We're looking
What's
for,
that?
we beg your indulgence. I'm looking for the
Oh.
appropriate copy.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, perhaps the previous question, to clarify, Nongo is seated towards the right of that sofa. He stands up and pushes. There's a what looks like a heater there. Relative to that, where does the first suspect, in fact, what happens to him when he's pushed? Does he fall?
The cross-examination of Zandile Khumalo, the state's first witness in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial as it started de novo, currently underway at the Pretoria High Court. A bit later on, we'll get some updates from Criselda Lewis, who's following that story.